Hello everyone, I am Mighty Space Fruit and or Biscuits, depending on the cycle of the moon. And I'm here with a game here from the Specialist Cup Hybrid Division in the quarterfinals, a best of 5 match between Lord Benji and OrangeMamba. Taking a quick look at the maps here. We have for Lord Benji, we have Shoals and Bay, and for OrangeMamba, we have Kawasan and High Tides. And the admin pick, which is the first game, would be El Dorado. Taking a look at the civs here, we have for Lord Benji, Japanese, Koreans, Chinese, Dravidians, Portuguese, Berbers, and Tatars. And OrangeMamba has Franks, Huns, Mayans, Cumans, Vikings, Malay, Hindustanis. Pretty nice selection here. We have for Lord Benji, banned Georgians, classic pick, or classic ban, I should say. I tend to ban this all the time just because I don't want to play against them. And banning Magyars and Ethiopians, OrangeMamba banning Persians, Byzantines, Mongols. A lot of classic picks here. Nothing too crazy. I do see a nice Dravidian pick. See if if Viper is watching, I'm sure he would enjoy this. Makes sense on hybrid or water settings with the extra 200 wood. But yeah, I mean on a best of 5, I don't spend too much time on this here because well, there's a lot of different civs. I don't see anything that I think is too crazy. We do see, nice selection of cavalry civs for OrangeMamba, but, on the other side, Lord Benji has Tatars, Berbers. You get a good use out of cavalry, I would say, in general on these settings, especially, I would say, Kawasan and High Tides. The other maps, less so. Bay is a little more closed off. Shoals also a little more closed off, but the gold piles are useful. So, let us go ahead and get into the game here. So, welcome everyone here to this match between Lord Benji. Oh, sorry, I've mixed them up. Lord Benji in the purple. I mixed it up because on the top HUD here, it's Lord Benji on the left, but he's actually on the right of the map. Lord Benji in the purple on the Chinese, and in the red is OrangeMamba on the Malay here on El Dorado. So this map, the whole main thing with this is in the center. We have this big patch of gold and stone. You can see the players. Ooh, it's nice back stone, back gold there for OrangeMamba. A little more forward for Benji though, unfortunately. The gold is a little better place, the stone is less so. But on this map, you definitely need to play for the center at some point because if you run out of this and then you have no access to the middle, you are pretty screwed. And of course, we still have fish here. Big difference as well on this map is that at the sort of home part here at your starting TC, you do not have any access to farms. Kind of like Sandrift if you've seen that map. You cannot farm around your starting TC. So you definitely want to make use of the fish early on, but at some point you will need to transition to farms. You can also redock for these as well. But at some point, especially if you're going to boom later on, you will need the farming space. So not only is it important to secure the middle, but also secure your sides. Now, taking a look at the civs here, Chinese is a great pick for this map because you start here at the starting TC with these patches of deep fish. You can actually really reduce your idle TC time. You can see here, Lord Benji only has 10 seconds of idle TC time. So normally, one thing you worry about when you're Chinese is you have to get to your sheep, or in this case your llamas, as soon as possible so you can start producing and make sure that you don't lose your Vil lead. But here with the fish, it is not nearly as much of a concern because you can just fish with those immediately, and that is a really great source of food. Here with the Malay, I'd say Malay is actually a decent pick. I wouldn't call them a counter to the Chinese here, but with their faster uptimes, they might be able to compete with the Chinese superior eco lead and get maybe either contest the middle, get some military out sooner, something like that. So we're going to see if OrangeMamba is able to capitalize on that to fight against Lord Benji's superior eco lead just from the Chinese bonus of the extra Vils. There's also, if you have fish, that is at least some sort of compensation as well. Presumably both players are going to go for fish, but it's at least you have that. You can produce out of your docks and feel slightly less bad than if you were just on land and you had no access to fish. So, I'm somewhat familiar with both these players, I would say. I've seen Lord Benji around a lot of Discords, especially the Low Elo Legion Discord. OrangeMamba I'm familiar with. I've practiced with him a fair bit, or at least it's been a while, but I first sort of encountered him in TCC. He has improved quite a lot, and I would say in the only case where I've ever played a community game with or under T90. I was sort of teammates with him, and I give I won't spoil anything. I think it's a pretty good game. It is on T90's channel. You can see these llamas are trying to escape, it seems, before their brethren is being slaughtered. But I think they will not survive for so long. But OrangeMamba was my teammate there, and I give any credit, any sort of success I had there to him. So hats off to him for that performance there, and wanted to see how he was performing here in the Specialist quarterfinals. You can see Lord Benji is up to feudal already, thanks to the superior eco with the extra villagers. The nice thing, though, is when you're playing the melee, it's not actually as bad. I think even if OrangeMamba clicks up when this is around a minute away, they should still be about even uptime. So it's not going to be as significant as if it was a different civ in question. And we see also red has already docked, and it seems like purple is not interested in. I think this is a map where you could consider getting away with no docking here. So we see the mill dropped. Because, you know, this is the most important part of the map, right? And water control does not give you access to that. And like I said, also, you have to reduck for sure. Kind of like on Marsh Madness, where the fish is not a, you know, perfect long-term option. Ooh. See, actually, OrangeMamba is clicking up pretty late. Up to 23. Oh, wait. There's 21 vills. Still a little late. Still not as bad. I mean, purple's about to be up to feudal, and red still hasn't clicked up. But, again, with the melee, it's a really good bonus. So, you know, not the worst thing just yet, I would say. I think he's about to click up. We have a barracks up for purple. I'm not sure what he's going to go into here. I think I probably prefer archers on this map in general. You can wall off pretty nicely on the sides, so the scouts can only get so much damage in, but, you know, it's not a bad option. Control the center. Get some damage in before your opponent is fully walled. But, yeah, OrangeMamba, interesting here. On stone, clicking up late. So it looks like he's going into some sort of fast castle, into maybe Karambit's action, which, you know, I don't mind seeing. You could definitely use that to take control of the center. We'll see if purple makes military, however, they could deny a castle placement over here, which could be big. You could also consider being a little more cautious as red, and maybe just drop a castle over here. It covers part of the area and can help you sort of, you know, pivot and get some military out. But purple did see this and is bringing out a stable. Probably make a few scouts to get some damage in, but you know, it doesn't seem super rushed to make militaries. Maybe aware that what red is planning here, so it doesn't want to go too heavy on the military into feudal and, you know, be behind technologically speaking. See the blacksmith up. Don't have the market. I think a little bit of a build order issue. Not enough on wood to sustain both the fish production and dropping the market, because you need that second building to click up. 2 scouts out for purple. About to be 3. We don't have a barrack, so we don't really have a great defense for red, but you can wall nicely here in the back and here. I don't think you can build on the shoals, but you can still wall here to these houses. And it should still be okay. And if you really need to, you can drop a tower. It's not great, but you're all in all of the stone, so it's not a terrible option. Ooh, we see a nice quick wall. Oh, yeah. Very nice. But yeah, 3 scouts are in. See how OrangeMamba reacts to this. Gonna need to either fight back really soon or... Yeah, it's good to bunch up all your vills if you're gonna vill fight. You're gonna lose 1. 1 scout goes down. Ooh, this one's still alive. Okay, then it goes down. And those scouts are pretty low HP. So they can still get damage in, but when they're that low HP, it's a little less promising because, you know, 1 vill or a couple vills could kill this one. 3 is also the magical number because you can trap a vill in. Purple's actually farming here, and you can see how, like, it's awkward because you can't farm under your starting TC. This actually would be exposed if OrangeMamba was looking to produce some military on the water, but he is looking to go up to Castle Age very quick. So there's not in his mind. We do have the food. We don't have the gold, which is not a problem. We just need a market to sell some stone. Scouts coming in shouldn't be an issue because there's so many vills here. They can't really find much damage, especially when there's 2 really weak ones. If you take this hill, you might be able to make something happen, but as long as OrangeMamba is paying attention, it should be fine. And also, this isn't even that bad, right? You have enough food. You just need the wood for your market. But the farming eco is up for purple. Floating a lot of wood. We'd really love to see, at this point, even just drop a dock. You haven't seen any aggression. You know your opponent's going up to fast castle. We just see 2 of the weak scouts go down. And looks like, yeah, no more Vil kills there. So good job from OrangeMamba to group all your Vils up. That should be just fine. There is the market dropped. So we will see the sell and click up very soon. Purple is floating a lot of wood. So really needs to... I like dropping more farms. That's good. But honestly, you have so much wood. You make just 1 dock. Make like 2, 3, maybe 4 fishing ships. But I do also like this. The market is being dropped, which is also fine. Ooh, going in? This is interesting. So, it's... I mean, you have a really awkward spot. I wonder if... Does he see that? He does see that. This is pretty risky, I would say. In the sense that you know your opponent's going to be up to castle age. And presumably they're going to drop a castle. Maybe make some karambits. You're not going to have military to defend this off. And karambits are pretty quick at destroying buildings as well. So even if you wall up, it's going to be a problem. You could consider towering. But I think it's probably better just to take this and accept you can't push back just yet. But we'll see how that turns out. If OrangeMamba shows up with not enough karambits, could still, you know, not be a huge deal for Lord Benji. But red is coming in. We'll see. One thing to note, you can always see the center. So red already knows about this. And the Vils are coming in. We'll see how purple responds. These spears are not going to do anything. They don't matter at all to the Vils. And the castle is being dropped. I don't think there's any way this gets denied. There's way too many Vils. 3 Vils are coming in, but they're not going to be able to do anything. They come around, they don't like that you're building on purple's turf. But you can see how, like, this castle's going to range these Vils, and they're going to run away. I mean, you get some damage in here, which is good, but, like, you can't deny the castle. So, ultimately, that's what you want, and you're not going to be able to do that. You see the one Vil baiting these Vils away, which is a valiant sacrifice for her part. But yeah, the castle's going to go up, and it's going to cover a fair bit of the middle, and with Karambids out, purple's going to be in trouble. Especially with all of these exposed farmers. But yeah, that's why I think it would be better just to take this. Or this, too, is fine. It's kind of a nice... You could wall this up. Maybe need to tower as well. And a TC in the center as well. I don't know if red's going to be able to produce with only 6 on food right now. You also can't farm out here great. You could even add fishing traps or redock as melee. But 2 Kramers are out. About to be a third once there's enough gold. There is not enough gold just yet. So these Karambits, you know, they're kind of like Zerglings. They take up half a pop each. They do pretty high damage. And they're pretty fast. But they're also really squishy. So you can see how they're going to die to the TC fire pretty quickly. There's one dead. Another, you know, interesting quirk about this map, because you don't farm around your starting TC, you often... Oh. That doesn't look... That's a weird looking skin for the mining camp, I must say. You don't usually actually have Vils under your TC. So you can't always garrison Vils to shoot units down that come through. But we do see the range coming up, which is good. You know, having ranged units is a good option against the Karambits. They're, you know, pretty squishy, like I said. They are fast moving, but if you have a big enough clump of ranges or ranged units, you can kill them. Would like to see archers being produced. 3 ranges. I don't think you're going to have the eco to produce out of all of those, but if you're going to put up 3, I'd like to see the first 2 producing already. You have the resources for it, so... Oh, we see Cav Archer. Oh, interesting. Well, they do have bloodlines on... They do have bloodlines on the Chinese, and also they have cheaper techs, which is good for Cav Archers because they you know, they need a lot of technologies to be good. See, the Kramers are in. Going to do a lot of damage. There's already 1 kill. About to be... Yeah, there's about to be 2. I'm not sure how I feel about these Cav Archers. There's a lot of problems. One is that I don't think purple's even on gold. They're more expensive. They take a lot more to mass. I mean, they're going to be... If you have more of them, it'll probably be good because they're more mobile. But, like, you can see we have 3 ranges. They're not actually producing. It says... Okay, so that was with the gold miners. They're over here, but that's not very safe. But the Kramers are in, and the GG is called. So, yeah, I mean... Oh, this is... I was wondering... I saw about this dock, and I didn't comment it. But we see lots of nice Look at all these missing string 40588. Oh, sorry, it's 405088. A nice Malay fishing trap. I was wondering about redocking, but this is also not a bad idea as well. Interesting use of the map. But yeah, we saw here, you know, the Malay player went for, you know, saw in the map that we have this middle center. What am I saying? This center area with all of the minerals, and thought, well, we can go FC, go into Gambits, and control the center. It's a great game plan to have. And I think Purple did recognize this, but was floating a lot of wood. Needed to either drop way more farms, drop a few docks. I didn't mind the couple of scouts to do some damage. I thought that was fine. But I think a really big mistake was dropping the mining camp here when you know your opponent's going for fast castle drop. You should have been better off to go for this gold. Then you could have been making archers. You don't have to wait till Castle Age to make your archers, which are going to turn into crossbows. So grab this gold, produce a bunch of archers. You were, you know, floating a lot of wood still. So, you know, you had the wood. You just needed the gold. That's all you needed. But we're going into game number 2 after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to game number 2 of this rower quarterfinal in the hybrid specialist division. We have here in the purple, on the Japanese, we have Lord Benji. In the red is on the Vikings is OrangeMamba. And we're on the map Shoals here. So with Shoals, you start with this sea tower, which is a watchtower. I think it's a little more buffed. I don't know the stats well enough to say what how it compares. I think it's got more HP at least. And this is sort of surveying your starting dock area, which can be nice. You can drop a dock here and, you know, start with this fish, grab some other fish, and you're a little safer if you lose you lose in your numbers. I mean, if it's an overwhelming amount, like your opponent has like 6 fires or like 10 galleys or something, like it's not really gonna matter. But in most cases where I've seen, the feudal navy is not quite enough to you know, overtake the dock and the tower without taking heavy losses. So you at least have this for some protection. Another main feature of this map are these gold patches here, protected by these crocodiles. So you have to keep in mind that you're gonna need to expand over here at some point, right? Even if you have water control, you need to make sure you secure these extra minerals at some point. You have, you know, you have your home resources, of course, like always. But at some point, these will run out if the game goes long enough. So you need to make sure to secure these. An interesting thing that I didn't really notice when I played this map, and I haven't really seen many other players use, these crossings actually go across the entire water. Now, obviously, if you don't have water control, you're not going to want to deal with this because you'll just lose all your units. But it is kind of interesting to note. This is an angle you could use. It's pretty tight. You couldn't really get many units past. There's this mangrove which will tickle everyone as they go past. So it's not like you can have a huge invasion, but it is a route to keep in mind. And also something to keep in mind if, say, like, you know, I'm red and I've lost the sort of control of this area, but I have the water. If we get up to Imp, I can make some cannon galleons and shell the opponent's sort of fortifications, which is something good to keep in mind. Because in hybrid, we always think about, you know, water is important, at least early. At some point, you will need to invest on land, and you don't want to overinvest. And depending on the map, long-term, the water is not very useful. On this case, I would say even, especially long-term, at some point, it's going to be important because you can shell the opponent's sort of coastal fortifications. But we have red here with OrangeMamba and purple on the Japanese, both good civs on water settings. Viking has a pretty big gap in their tech tree because they are missing fire galleys. So, you know, typically in a lot of hybrid settings, you just make fires. You're not going to go into galleys long term, and you don't have to worry about microing them as much as you would have to galleys. So that is a big thing to keep in mind for our Japanese player here, because they can produce fires. Your opponent cannot. So we see the nice missing string 405088. You see a fishing ship for Lord Benji. Not to call Lord Benji out, but that probably means he clicks, whereas OrangeMamba uses a hotkey for his ship. But yeah, you can get your fires out. Your opponent can only have galleys, and you need a good galley mass and micro to actually contest the fires. So something to keep in mind with the timings here. It is actually nice to have this watchtower when you play without the fires because, you know, if you don't have fires, you can't contest the enemy fires as easily to have a big galley mass. So we'll see how that plays out. But Lord Benji here on the Japanese, they have the discounted lumber camps, mills, and mining camps. Vikings have discounted docks, and they get wheelbarrow and hand cart for free, which is a really big economic bonus. One thing we usually see for Vikings, though, is they kind of struggle with military options for units. They do have decent archers. They're missing thumb ring, I believe. I don't think there's anything else that they're missing. Yeah, so they have decent archers. They're missing thumb ring. And, you know, with the Japanese, you also have CA that do bonus damage to archers. So it's not great. I don't know if this is a great map for CA, though. Thinking about how, you know, important the water is and the fact that it's kind of, I mean, you can close off pretty well. So there's not that much maneuverability, I would say. But still probably an option, I would think. Of course, Vikings have also extra HP on their infantry. So there's an option. They have their berserks from their castle as well, which is a nice unique unit. But if your opponent takes out samurai, probably not great for you. So I think this is a bit of an awkward matchup for the Vikings. I'm not really sure what OrangeMamba has planned here for the land military at least. But yeah, I mean, you could open stable. It's not a terrible option. I mean, it's like scouts is okay with any civ more or less, especially if you have fish. You don't have bloodlines. You're missing the last cavalry armor, so you have cavalry units as the Vikings, but they're not not your best option, I would say. We have 4 vills coming out for red. I wonder where these are headed. Maybe just to get these deer. I wonder if red can see that. Red has scouted nicely over here. Maybe just getting out there early is an interesting thought. I wonder if purple is scouting. Yeah, this is actually nice. Scouted through the center, you see with the trolls, and is looking around to see what red is up to. And red is up to... Oh, interesting. Just going for a mining camp out here. This is an interesting thought. Go and secure the area early. We have loom, luckily, so this crocodile is not a problem. We do see a galley out and a fire out for purple. So we'll see how this pans out, right? In small numbers, the fire galley is going to destroy any galleys. In large numbers, the galleys will do well, but they do need to be microed, which I think is a big thing. I'm a bit of a psycho when it comes to archer galley micro, and I tend to overdo it a lot because I just get sucked in. But that is something to keep in mind. It's going to take a lot more attention from OrangeMamba to micro the galleys around than it would for purple, which just has to set your fire galley on like attack stance or patrol. So we'll see how that pans out here. I think there's a decent amount of space to maneuver around for the galleys, but not great. You have these mangroves kind of blocking area, but see how that works. But yeah, 4 on gold for red. Was that looks like 5 on gold for purple. So in a hyper setting like this too, with this, especially if your fishing is uncontested, is nicely set up to go into castle not too long afterwards. Especially because you're going to be on gold anyway for the military units. The fire is coming around. It scares off the, or it's the galley scares off the fire, but the fire could take that battle. But of course, you know, you don't want to just walk into the enemy tower. Second fire is coming out. We do have more galleys coming out for red. I hope if we see an engagement taken, yeah, I would like to see fletching first. But we have market and a blacksmith out for red. So we just need a bit more food. Only 5 on food right now. This is a big house wall. Another dock. It's kind of a big investment. But we have 3 fires out for purple. And yeah, you're not going to be able to fight that off as red. Especially without fletching and only 2 galleys. But like I said, we at least have this tower, which does have bonus damage versus ships. But yeah, this is good, you know, good from purple. You can draw out the enemy galleys and then go for the kill. But you see it's just kind of forcing idle time on the missing string 405088, which is only good for purple because these fishing ships work faster for the Japanese. You also have 2 docks out for purple as well. Marketplace coming up. You see a demo out for red. So you need 2 demo rafts to kill a full HP fire. Fletching is coming in, which is good. You gotta be a little cautious with this though, because if you don't hit, I would say you need to hit at least 2 to really get much value out of it. It's not gonna kill until you get, you know, you get 1 demo shot and a few galley shots on it. But the fire's coming around. Good, good work from Benji. The galleys come back. I think you should probably just go for your enemies' fishing ships, to be honest with you. Like, you can click up to castle soon. Castle's up for Japanese player first. And the fishing ships come back. Let's see these demos come in. They do awkwardly kill 1. Okay, that is good. So they are going to clear out the fires, and this is the last fire for Lord Benji. So OrangeMamba can take this momentum and go kill all of the fish for the purple. But purple's still up to castle first. And red has just clicked up, so about a minute behind. We're getting fletching. And now we're going into galleys. I don't know if this is really the play here. Your opponent, the Vikings, have cheaper fire ships. Or sorry, cheaper warships, I should say. And they already have a few bit of galleys out. That being said, if we have the war galleys out first, because of the tech advantage for purple, those would do much better, even against the larger, massive galleys. But you can see this sea tower is going to do quite a bit of work for red or for purple, because red cannot dive under that without losing a lot of ships. We're on stone for purple. Maybe thinking about a castle on one of the shoals. Still just demo lurking around. So this could be good, not just to, you know, there's no fires at this point. This could be good just to draw fire from some galleys. But we're going to have 3 docks for purple. And still, oh, okay, there's the 3rd one for red. So, yeah, I mean, also your discount for the Vikings gets cheaper on the galleys as you age up. But we'll see. We have Bodkin and War Galley coming in for purple. So, might be able to make use of this timing. We have 4... about to be 5 galleys versus 8. I think you would win with the upgrades, but red is about to be in castle. And should have the res to click both upgrades. Oh, we're into longboats. Interesting. Okay, war galleys are out. See how they do. The demo ship was immediately killed. But yeah, you can see the tech advantage is really big here on the water. One of the war galleys is killed. But they're not being microed, so they're just taking a lot of heat. We have 2 longboats. Not quite enough. You're going to need bodkin anyway if you're going to go for longboats, so make sure you research that. Second TC coming up, though, first for red. Still pretty even for eco, though. Ooh, careening coming out for red. So the careening will increase your pierce armor for your ships, which is good, but I would like to see bodkin first. That being said, this is a nice engagement for red. Not quite enough ships from purple. And the longboats can just sit here and kill off these war galleys. I'd love to see some repairs on these low HP longboats. So longboats, they're good. Now, I like to play longboats because, in general, they're just way, way nicer than it is to micro war galleys. War galleys are horrible to micro. It's terrible. They sort of, I think they do, you know, decently in even numbers. But you're going to need to micro them if you're even numbers to really do significantly well. And, you know, you do get cheaper warships, so sticking with the galley line is also not a bad option, I would say. But we don't quite have enough gold to produce out of all these docks right now. 7 longboats to 8 war galleys. And, yeah, no careening for purple. So these longboats do have an extra pierce armor. They both have bodkin. If these are micro, they should do better. I'd really love to see repair on some of these low HP, but this is a nice micro from red, and pulling out these purple war galleys. But yeah, you don't want to engage that. Ooh, we have the fires too. You're gonna need to focus fire those down. Okay, nice engagement for red. It's good to pull back here to your sea tower as well. Yeah, kill both of the fires. There's some low HP war galleys too. Purple's coming forward with a castle, which is a good option to secure, but without using this as a kind of launching point to besiege red's base, I think purple's going to lose this long term against all these longboats. Although, If we have equal numbers, we kill some of the low HP of red ships. It's not so bad. But we're about to be on to 3 TCs for red. We're not producing out of all of them. All the time. We have a little more idle time. But long term, this will be a really big difference for red. Killing some of the fishing ships, that's great for red. This shoal is scouting along. Pretty dangerous job, I gotta say. Yeah, I think some of these low HP... Ooh, yeah. You don't want to take that engagement. You have to focus fire the fires down, so a few demos might not be bad. And you really should repair the low HP longbows. That'll make a really big difference. Just like if you had a bunch of crossbows. Losing your mass is a really big deal. There's a missing string 405088 coming in on the action, but fires push ahead. And they're going to push the longboats back. Yeah, they should be able to clean this up with some micro. But it's... I mean, these are pretty even here. Purple doesn't have any fishing ships, though. And neither does red. So... Well, actually, no, sorry. Red has 5 fishing ships. What am I talking about? So this isn't actually that valuable except for map control. Like to use to, you know, take a good position here. See a couple samurai out for purple. Purple's also still on stone, so maybe thinking about building a forward castle of some sort. See, I think... So yeah, purple hasn't scouted any of the extra TCs just yet, but I think might very soon. Coming forward with some samurai. Doesn't look like any upgrades on these. But they might be able to do some damage here. There's like no defense here, so they might be able to get a few Vil kills here. Another engagement here. A demo is coming forward. I think that might just get shot down, but yeah, they're shot down by the tower. And red is getting the War Galley upgrade here. Maybe thinking about adding some fires, but you don't have any, unfortunately. Yeah, these purple samurai coming around the side. I think they're going to be able to get some kills. Red does notice. Great reaction time. We have a TC up for purple. Ooh. Ooh. You don't want to take that. No, that's, yeah, that's going to be pretty rough. That's a lot of kills for purple. That's a lot of kills for purple. I didn't really count that accurately, but I think that was probably like 5, 6, maybe even 8 kills. Unfortunately for purple, red had the extra TCs up very soon. So it's still not that far behind, but it's going to wall up behind this. We have Monastery up. Maybe thinking about getting some relics. I don't think purple has spotted this extra TC just yet. Okay, they have. So they know there's at least an extra TC. Don't know about the third one just yet. I don't think we're gonna see repairs on these longboats, but that would be nice. And you can see how here, if you had water control and you're an imp, it would be great to destroy this castle and TC. And red's going around the side to see if they can find any damage. Because I know this is a good defensive position for purple. Under the sea tower. Also good scouting in general. Ooh, purple's just going to build a TC. I don't think red knows about this at all. He's going to go for the dock. So let's see how this engagement goes. You're focused on the dock. With some micro, it should still be fine, because you can focus some of the galleys down. Yeah, so this is some better focus fire from red, it seems. And also you can see the easier sort of micro ability of the longboats. The war galleys for purple are just, they're so awkward to micro around. But pulling them back is good. You can pick off some of the longboats. I think including a few fires is actually still good. I know it didn't work out before, but it can draw fire from the longboats so the war galleys can get some damage in. I think in general this is looking a lot better for red, but purple's still getting quite a bit of damage in. But is maybe thinking at this point. I mean, at this point it's going to be really hard to really come back. You would need to drop a castle on your shoreline, which would like fully defend your docks, and then you'd be able to produce more. But yeah, with this many longboats out, it's going to be really hard for purple to come back. Luckily, we're just losing a lot of longbows to this sea tower. It will go down, but it is good for purple. But red does have an eco lead, thanks to all of these TCs working. And now the docks are fully exposed for purple. But at the same time, we haven't had fishing ships for purple for a long time. Ooh. 2 castles from each player. Let's see how this goes. You can't just attack the foundation. You gotta go for the vills. So what is this? This is 21 vills for red and 14 for purple. So you do have more vills. Seems like you're just gonna let it happen. If you, you'd be a legend if you just stepped forward and built a castle on your opponent's TC here. But I don't think red knows about that just yet. This will... Okay, this would range the enemy TC. Yeah. Okay. So, now, at this point, if you're either player, you want to think about Imp. And red is... Oh, we just bought a castle there for purple. So this will kick back red. I actually think this might come up first because there's more vills for purple. Well, no, not quite. Red started too early. So red's going to get up to Imperial Age first, which is bad news for Lord Benji, both because they have water control, they can get cannon guns out, and of course they can get trebuchets out. No bomber cannon for the Vikings, but trebuchets will do the job. But we do have 2 castles out for purple, so in theory, if they were able to get up to Imp, they could outproduce Trebs. But Imp is clicked first. We do have a much better eco for red than we do for purple. You see some samurai being massed up. This could do still some decent damage. You see how red doesn't have any land military still. I think there's still a gap around here, so could still get in here and do some damage. A second castle being built from red. I assume this is for double Treb production, which I don't mind the idea, but honestly, I'd rather just make some cannon galleons, if you ask me. Those are a little more mobile than a Treb, but, I mean, I guess if you really want to secure this area, not a bad idea. Now that you see being added here, I like this because you see that this one's going to get killed. And yeah, I mean, this area, you got to fight for it, for sure. But red is in a good position to do so because they have water control, and they can see sort of things around. They have a better eco as well. But purple is on this area here. Petard's being produced from purple. Petard's being... I mean, okay. I understand the petards from purple because you're pretty far behind. So it's kind of hard to get up to Imp. There's no reason to build petards as red because you're going up to Imp. So you just make cannon guns or Trebs. But purple does click to Imp. I think he's going to lose this side over here, but does have this side. So with a push, you could make some Trebs and push on this side. Red's on a lot of gold here. Getting crossbow. Going into archers, it seems, which is not a bad idea. You already have bodkin because of your longboats. And we only have... We have 1-1 on our... infantry for purple. Vills come out and they try and Vill fight the petards, but a lot of them die in the process. I think you have to accept as Lord Benji that this castle is dead. Especially with your opponent getting up to Imp first. I don't think... It doesn't matter how much you invest here on this side. I don't think there's anything you do to contest this at this point. If you had water control, you can make cannon guns. But purple does have this side to work with. And is coming in with the samurai. Missing some upgrades. And there are some crossbows coming out, but the crossbows are missing upgrades. And we still have a gap here at the back, so it could find some damage for sure. 2 Trebs out now for red. I understand, but I don't know. I would just love to see some cannon guns. You don't see them very often, so. Now these arbs are going to be able to push the samurai back, but we can probably find some kills here as if we're purple. Okay, it's... Ooh. And GG is called there. And purple does resign. That is another win for OrangeMamba. So, yeah, I mean, I understand, of course, resigning here. Like, as purple, you're pretty far behind. You know, red dropped the extra TCs pretty early on. And got a good control over here. I do like how purple was able to get a castle over here and control this area, though. So I think you know, the winning plays, you probably have to accept that this is, you know, your eco is worse. You're behind on Imp. Your opponent has 2 castles. They have water control, so you can't contest this. You don't want to invest in your petards, and you don't want to invest in this bot castle. This castle I think was fine. You know, made Raid Red have to scurry around, but you need to think about this side. And the samurai, you know, they found some damage earlier, which was good. I think also as well, purple, when you saw your opponent was, you know, on longboats, you know, you're making a bunch of war galleys to contest, but I actually don't think it was even worth it. You lost a lot, and your opponent always had just a few more numbers than you and had a little bit better micro, but also, you know, longboats are easier to micro, I would say. So, as you know, securing this didn't actually even do anything for you because you didn't have fishing ships for a long time. So you probably just needed to boom up, add some more farms, and maybe find some damage here on the side. But yeah, I mean, I understand it's kind of hard to play on hybrid maps in general. I think, you know, balancing the water and land play in general. So let's go ahead on to game number 3. Hello everyone, and welcome to game number 3 here of this quarterfinal in the rower bracket of the hybrid division. We have in the purple Lord Benji on the Koreans, and in the red OrangeMamba with the Cumans. So this is the match point for red. Just needs one more game and they'll be victorious. Playing here on Bay and or Pants. This is a hybrid map where the fish is definitely important, but it does run out fairly quickly. So you don't want to overinvest here for sure. And looking at it, you know, especially with the pick as the Cumans, I'm thinking that OrangeMamba is not that worried at all about investing in water that much. Probably, you know, seeing a dock early is fine. Get some fish eco up in the early game. But you're more worried about investing in your second TC and your extra farms. So I don't think we're going to see that much water play from red. And if you're purple, that's something good to keep in mind. So, you know your opponent as the Cumans, their biggest threat is their second TC. They could do some other shenanigans. I mean, you know, it's good to scout, of course, to make sure your opponent is actually doing what you think they are going to do. But the second TC is the biggest threat for sure. So, you know, the obvious move, of course, is what you do is you just go for a fast castle and you're able to get a forward siege and you invest more into military while they're investing in economy. And you're able to do a lot of damage to them. You could also, as the Koreans, of course, you get your tower upgrades for free. And you have stone miners that work faster. So you could also consider a, you know, tower rush of some sort. I don't know how well-versed Lord Benji is in the way of tower rushing. I am not very well-versed. We have a forward stone over here. Back gold is perfectly safe. But could be something to consider. Of course, when you do a tower rush, it does die to the Vils rushing down the tower. So, you know, if red is just being vigilant, they should be able to kick it back. But you never know. Sowing Chaos is a good option, I would say, in general, when your opponent is going to invest more into eco than you are. Yeah, we'll see what purple decides to go for. Of course, as the Koreans, you also get cheaper archers. I believe it is they cost less wood, as well as their other military units, like spears. They cost less wood. And they also get the archer armor upgrades for free, which is a nice bonus as well. There is also an option to go for your FC into unique unit as the Koreans, going into fast castle and dropping a castle on your opponent's face and making war wagons. I mean, usually you actually don't drop it on the opponent's castle. You usually drop it at home because you're expecting aggression. But if your opponent is going for 2 TC boom, it's not a bad idea, honestly, if you ask me. It could be disastrous if your castle is denied, but, you know, the pressure is kind of on you if your opponent's going to have a way stronger eco than you. You have to put the pressure on to do a lot of damage to make sure that they don't, they're not able to, you know, make something happen. I say this all, and a barracks is being built by OrangeMamba. So maybe OrangeMamba has something completely different in mind. You do get cheaper ranges and stables. They both cost less wood. I believe it's minus 75 wood each. And we also have no dock at all from red. So I think red is maybe thinking about just sort of some sort of military play with the cheaper production buildings. Purple hasn't scouted this yet, but that would be good intel to know. Both that OrangeMamba has not docked and has built a barracks, which indicates that they are not going for a second TC. At least they're not going to invest in as heavily. We also only have 6 on wood. Well, actually, sorry. That's actually not that unusual because you probably want to click up first and then you put more on wood. As you see, a very fast uptime for OrangeMamba. 19 vils up. We didn't invest in the dock. So this is going to pay off for purple, though. Like, this is a really nice food income for purple. And we see the mining camp. I think this might be a range opening for red, and just put some pressure on your opponent. If you don't play for the water, you do need to think about that, because you don't invest in the economy. You don't get the fishing eco, but that does mean you have more wood to spend on other things, which include military. It's kind of the same thing when I was talking about how the human player, if they go for the second TC, they have to invest a lot more in their economy, which means you as your opponent can go for the fast castle and produce more military. But I think it's really important for purple to scout what red is doing, to see if they're going for the second TC or not. Which I think I can clearly see that they're not, but you don't know that if you're just the other player in the dark. And we'll see what the Cuban player decides to build. Oh, a stable. Okay. I don't mind it. I assume these are on gold just for a nice fast castle timing. A little weird to me. If you're producing scouts, you need to invest in farms because you don't have any fish. But it makes sense because opening range is not a great option against the Koreans, where they get their archer armor for free and they have cheaper archers. So their skirms, or their archers even, should do well against your own, assuming equal numbers. Or they might even have more numbers than you anyway, because of the fact that they are cheaper. Looks like double bed X in for purple. We're missing it for red. We're going for the horse collar, which is kind of greedy, I would say, but makes sense. But I think you're better off just going for double bed X and just accepting non-horse collar farms. But, I mean, if you put 10 on berries, I guess you will be able to produce out of both. Because the thing is, you need to make scouts. That's 80 food. And you need to make villagers, which is 50 food. And you can see there's some idle time because red doesn't have the food for it. But 2 scouts out for red. No barracks for purple. I think was maybe expecting some, you know, some being contested on the water. Dropping the market, so is thinking about the fast castle to contest the second TC. But purple will see that your opponent is on scouts, which means they are not second TC booming. But push these scouts back before they are able to do any damage. This market will go up just fine. Especially with this scout and these low HP scouts, I don't think red will be able to find much damage. Ooh, unless the scout just takes hits like that. Okay, you gotta fight back. Kill the low HP scouts. Okay, that's good. Kill one. You lose a Vil. It's okay. I don't know if this is... I guess... Yeah, I mean, it's kind of awkward. With the scout being out of the picture, you really wanted to fight with all of them at the same time. You also definitely want to consider just dropping a barracks at some point. I mean, I know we're going for the fast castle, but we're floating the wood. It would be good just to have a single spear or 1 or 2. But if you're going to fight with Vils, then you need to fight right away. And get the low HP. Or you need to wall in these Vils. We have the market up. Scouts are going to continue to do damage. But if you're pulled into the TC and you garrison, you should be fine. That's purple. You need to garrison. Ooh, we lose more and more Vils. Yeah, that was a really late garrison. Not able to find the damage. And red is just producing more scouts. Up to 4 scouts. Purple's going to click up soon, though. So, this will be kind of an interesting situation. Going to go for the fast castle anyway. You're kind of committed to it. So, makes sense. But you have the fishing eco. Your opponent does not have any fish. And they are on scouts. I would still say add a barracks, though. I mean, you haven't clicked up yet, but just a single spear would be great. And you know, you're probably going to add a stable or a range later at some point anyway. Okay, there's the barracks. Nice. Nicely walled over here. You can wall up here too nicely, and the scouts shouldn't find much damage. We do have an opening here. Ideally, we plug this, but if you don't want to put a Vil in danger, you could just, you know, build either towards your TC or around the barriers, something like that. But Castle Age is going to be in for the Korean players, so we have for ourselves an interesting situation. So these scouts, I mean, they're hitting the dock. Eventually they will kill it, but I don't think that's that big a deal for purple. I mean, you just make 2 spears, you can kill these, right? So it's not a big deal. So the scouts, I don't think are going to find much more damage. And purple's going to go on to stone. So I think is definitely thinking about a castle. Either aggressively or defensively and make war wagons. But this is one awkward thing for purple right now, is that without some spears, yeah, make 1 or 2, kill the scouts, then your fishing ships will be safe. Market's now in for red. Red's going to click up fairly soon. But purple will be there first. Fletching's coming in, so I think is, you know, definitely going to think about some war wagons. I think you should kill these scouts while they're messing around over here. Either kill the scouts or position some spears over here. You have a low HP scout and a low HP scout over here. Ooh, nice hit. Yep. Yeah, so this scout's going to come in, find some intel, maybe find some damage, but with the spears out, not going to really do anything there. Castle's in for red, but about 2.5 minutes behind than purple. Purple doesn't quite have the stone for a castle, but will very soon. And this dock might actually go down. I think that you shouldn't let that happen. You should go kill it with your spears. But we did see a scout killed. So yeah, just take these spears and go kill these scouts. There's no reason to let red kill. Oh, red's gonna go for the second TC. Interesting. Did red scout the mining camp? I guess they did. I mean, this is a nice TC tucked in the corner, I would say. The Vils are coming forward. There's no army to stop this, so I think it will go up. I don't know if it would range the TC. It does bother me. You're still making fishing ships as well, and you're going to let this dock go down. You should, I mean, at this point, maybe just build a fire even. Or something. But purple's going to come forward. Move forward with all these Vils. We still have the fish, but, you know, if the dock's gone, you can't do anything. But, hey, if you have these forward Vils, maybe you just build a forward dock. Castle's going to go up. It won't range the TC. It does secure this stone, though, which could be a big problem for OrangeMamba. Without stone, you can't produce any more TCs. You also cannot build a defensive castle of your own. I've seen this on this map. This actually could be a pretty big issue with not having access to this stone. Blacksmith is up for the Cuban player. That Bloodland's in. We're probably going to go for, I mean, either Knights or Step Lancers. I probably prefer Knights if you know your opponent's going to go for some kind of ranged unit. And, you know, with the castle as the Koreans, we're probably going for a ranged unit. And the wagons are in. So, I would say this is actually a pretty good spot for purple. Our opponent is, you know, they're not actually ahead economically speaking. I mean, they sort of are because our fishing ships aren't doing anything anymore. But they don't have that many more Vils, and it's like a lot of awkward idle time moving around, and this is like a pretty nice, you know, square area. They don't really have anything to contest our war wagons right now. Bodkin's in. We have 2 wagons out already. There's no army at all from red. We're spamming a bunch of skirms, which is a good answer, but they will need to be elite skirm to really do much. Well, actually, I don't know if it is a good answer. They are like cavalry archer, but they're quite tanky, right? And they do a decent amount of damage. And especially when they're only feudal age skirm without any armor. We release Bodkin coming in. I think you'd be better off just building a monastery and trying to convert these. You don't need redemption or anything to convert them. They're not siege units. And the wagon's coming in doing quite a bit of damage here. And they're not going to stop being produced. Purple has a pretty nice untouched economy over here. Gonna need more on wood. But, you know, nothing is contesting him from building more war wagons. Skirms, I don't think are going to do it. I mean, they could if there's a decent amount. At least Skirm is coming in. But you can see how... Like, they do, you know, they do some good bonus damage. But they're tanky enough that they're going to kill the Skirmers before they're, you know, able to make much happen. We have 3 ranges out for red. But, yeah, these Skirms get picked off. I think those are going to get killed. The war wagons come around the back here. Spears and war wagons just sort of doing damage on the front production. Yeah, they can take a lot of TC fire as well. Which is, I don't think that's great for Purple to just sit there and take it. But, it's still good for him because he's just idling all of these vills. And another another castle being built. I would say just build it on the enemy TC at this point. Put it like right next to the market. It's not like he's able to contest you at this point. So really go for the kill at this point. I'm not producing any more wagons right now, which could be a problem if we lose all of our wagons. We still have 8 out. We only have 5 skirms for red, which is not going to be enough. And back home, purple is untouched. So these wagons, if you have enough, you could probably kill a TC, but you either want a siege workshop or, you know, a castle on their TC. I mean, one nice thing about this castle, even though it doesn't range the TC, it does cover all of the production, which is really awkward for red. Now, red is in a pretty bad spot. I almost wonder if you could try escaping out this back here. I don't think purple's watching that. And I wonder, maybe it looks like red is trying to do just that. But red is in a pretty bad spot. Only has 5 more eco units, and purple's adding in the second TC now. These war wagons are going to do quite a bit of damage. Again, no armor on the skirms. I mean, they will kill the war wagons with enough hits, just because of the bonus damage. But, you know, in equal numbers, I don't think they're going to do so great. Yeah, especially when you're being pulled under the castle fire. Yeah, so we have 4 vills here sitting just thinking about what they want to do with their lives. Oh, they have to get sent back in. That is rough for them. They thought they were going to have a life of freedom, but unfortunately, they are not. I still think as OrangeMamba, you could still just build a monastery and try and convert some of these. That would be a really big swing for you. I do like being active with these scouts and trying to do some more damage, but I don't think it's going to be that significant. Get a few kills here, but, you know, will be picked up. Ooh. There's a hole in the wood line. That's odd. Building a big house wall here, but it's not going to keep out the wagons. That being said, okay, yeah, so purple's actually adding in the 3rd TC now. So as long as they make sure to add farms, keep the TCs working, we have a lot of food floating right now, so we can keep those working for a while. I was going to say the pressure is still on for purple to make sure to go in for the kill. Monastery's coming in now, but it's kind of late. We've taken a lot of damage, and our opponent has been able to add the 3rd TC at this point, even take some hunt under the TC. That being said, I think red still has an opportunity to stabilize. This farming eco is untouched. If you're purple, I would say, like, okay, yeah. I like garrisoning to heal them, but they were just sort of sitting there camping the production for no reason. They could be in here doing damage, idling TCs, killing vills. Or sorry, not idling TCs, idling vills, rather. Idling TCs is what happens already to OrangeMamba. We just have enough food. No offense, but don't worry, it happens to all of us. But we even have Sanctity coming in for red. And we have double monks. We have a decent amount of gold, so we're not going to run out of that right now. But another castle. So this one does range the TC. I kind of wish... that's why I wish this one just ranged this TC. Then you'd be covering both. But a single monk is out. Now, they can be sniped by the war wagons. So you do have to be careful of your OrangeMamba. I don't think there's any way this is contested by the skirms. Because the castle could just kill. Although, if it focuses down this... okay, there we go. It's now coming in. Yeah, and even the monk dies to the castle fire. We have a couple of couple of red villagers coming back out to build some sneaky ranges. I see there's a conversion there, which is big, but not as big as it would have been maybe 5 minutes ago. I'm not sure what these are going to do here. We're flooding a lot of resources, so I guess you could just make a bunch of archers, maybe try and get a counterattack in. It's not a bad idea. But now, we only have this area for farming space. And we only have 1 TC to produce vills. That being said, OrangeMamba still has 65 vills. Has kept a lot of them safe. I don't know what happened to me there. My true accent was slipping out, I guess. But hey, I mean, if you're Koreans here, Lord Benji, maybe you just add more castles. Add another castle here. Or even some towers. You also want to secure this area. I would say you probably need to drop an outpost or even just stone wall here on the side. That's the only avenue red has to escape. This castle covers the area. This castle covers this area. This is the only avenue of escape for red. But as for now, we got these vills are working themselves to death. This wood patch is going to run out, but we have this gold. We have all these farms. We can maybe make something happen. Oh, we're going with Cav Archer. Interesting. So they might be able to find some damage. There's no protection net back at home for Lord Benji. But look, we got, you know, Bowsaw, Horse Collar, Wheelbarrow coming in for purple. Gonna have a much better eco. Even has the eco lead by about 20 vills or so. And I also assume they're probably a little more efficient right now than all of these vills clumping up, even going to this far off lumber camp. But we have a lot of wagons for purple now. We do have enough monks to kick those back, I think. Ooh, okay, so the Cav Archers are coming in. Let's see what purple does. We can also just tech into skirm to kill these off. I don't think that's that bad an option at all for purple. But they could find some damage before Lord Benji has any military to stem this counterattack here. Ooh, I also like the sneaky TC to escape. These Cav Archer could definitely find some damage, especially with some exposed gold miners over here. We have 6 Cav Archers. They have Bodkin and Bloodline. They can definitely kill these spears. And it's kind of awkward actually for red to run into these, because you want to go kill vills. You don't really want to spend time on the spears. Oh yeah, see, look, more the evacuation is happening. This is the thing about for purple. Like, you need to keep your opponent in the corner here. You don't want to give him any chance to escape. And it's actually really smart from OrangeMamba to put the pressure on while your vills are escaping, so that they are able to find an avenue. If Yupsong, however the hell you pronounce that, I don't know how to say that. I'm a stupid American. That does make your towers better. I think it's increased range and maybe more attack. I'm not 100% sure. But I have quite a bit of Cav Archer now for red. But purple's also flooding a lot of res. So it's not like he does not have the res to build some stuff. Of course, you know, you could bring the war wagons back. Those should do just fine. Or even clicking up to imp. But I would probably love to see some production buildings, though. Build some skirms or even archers. You need something else anyway, because you're going to have to deal with the monks at some point if you want to push this down. And imp does give us trebs. I don't know, do they get... they also have bomber cannon too, which is great. But these Cav Archer are finding a lot of damage, which is very good for OrangeMamba. It's kind of the only out, I would say, for him. Finding some counter damage, escaping out here. And we're back to even eco now for both players. But the war wagons are back now, and they should clean up these Cav Archer. Probably still get some picks over here. Now, as purple, you know that these Cav Archers didn't come from here. So you got to think about, where did they come from? And maybe if you think about where did the Cav Archer come from, maybe there are more vills as well. But this is a good job from OrangeMamba, just being active with the Cav Archer and getting in as much damage as possible before they are killed. We have ballistics coming in for purple, which is good. We don't really have enough wood, though. We need... maybe just buy some wood, drop some ranges. We can also push this TC down, which will be good for us once we get up to imp. But we also need to find these TCs, or OrangeMamba could boom back into this. Already has a lot of Cav Archers. Now, human Cav Archers will not scale long term. They are missing Bracer. So against even Or maybe even just elite war wagon. They are much more maneuverable, which is a good thing to keep in mind. So they can still find a lot of damage. But, you know, if we had skirms from Lord Benji with Bracer or Arbs, they're not going to do great long term. But purple's up to Imp. I assume we'll probably see, yeah, we see some Trebs out. So this will go down. That is all of OrangeMamba's farming eco right now. So even though we have these extra vills over here, we don't have any farms. We lost a lot of Cav Archer, but they did so much damage. I think that's still super worth for red. You can see how the eco count has even out. We have a nice line of archer ranges. We have more skirms being produced for Cumin player. I don't like this. I know we're already teched into range units, but they're not going to do that well against, especially Imperial Age war wagons. But, I mean, if purple takes this fight before, it's just passing moment. If we don't have Bracer, these are pretty bad skirms long term. I think you should go into Cav units instead. They're going to be better at raiding, get some knights out. They're also going to do much better against the war wagons than your skirms will, honestly. But I guess I understand you already have a bunch of ranges, so. But your stables are cheaper as well. You see a lot of conversions came out for red, so that's where the monks are very useful. And, I mean, they're going to take a nice fight here. But, nice fight in the sense sort of slowing down purple's attack. But there's nothing to stop these Trebs. So, this T's is going to go down. And I think, yeah, now Lord Benji's going to see these escaping vills. He's going to kill all of them. That's really bad for red. However, red's still floating a lot of res. You could definitely drop some stables, make a bunch of knights. You could make like 20, 30 knights and get in. Ooh, I like this though. You got the Cav Archer into purple's base and doing some damage. All these vills do die. Another conversion is going to come out. This is another thing why I would have loved to see some skirms or something that isn't war wagon from Lord Benji. Because these monks are an issue. I mean, you can dive in this point. There's nowhere to secure them. But you lost a fair bit of them. And that's all your army. And the Cav Archer are back here doing some damage. If we had skirms here, we could do something about this. But we could also buy a castle. And just drop that defensively. We are floating lots of gold, after all, as Lord Benji. Ooh, but these Cav Archer do die to the TC. These war wagons did cut off those vills, which is good, but they still haven't gotten here into the main force. And that's actually a lot of skirms. They should do decently, but, like, there's 29 wagons here. They're not, Elite isn't in yet, but they do have Bracer. I don't know if they have Chemistry just yet. Yeah, it looks like they don't have Chemistry. I mean, it's a good mass, but I don't think it's going to stop this from happening. I think this is already gone for OrangeMamba. Ooh, and a castle's coming up. It doesn't range the TC, but it will secure this gold. I think it does go up, even though there might be quite some heavy losses for purple. So yeah, the skirms, I mean, they do decently here, right? But, well, this is actually probably a good value proposition, especially when it's before Elite War Wagon comes in. But the skirms are going to get cleared up. And the castle does come up. It doesn't range the TC, unfortunately, but it will secure the gold, and it's kind of a nice region to secure. So we lost a lot of wagons there before Elite came in, which is not great for Lord Benji. You could consider sprinkling in some Cav units. I know, you know, Koreans don't have a great stable. I think their Hussars are pretty famous for missing a lot of stuff, such as Bloodline and the Last Armor. But it wouldn't be a bad option. I mean, earlier would be good against the monks. They're also a little more mobile if you had light cav than your war wagons. That's the only thing. They're very slow, very sluggish, unlike the Cav Archer from red. But hey, red does have Trebs, and the Trebs can kill this castle, kill this TC. Red is about to be up to Imp. Only has 3 on farms, or 3 on food. You see all of these farms got cleaned up. There's barely any farming eco, and yeah, now purple finds the only farming TC. This one is just for gold and castle, wood production, lumber. It's gonna stop any farms, and red is now about to run out of resources. Has a lot of wood, but that can only go so far. You unfortunately cannot eat wood, as far as I know, unless you're a termite. And the GG is called here. No, interesting game. I think, you know, purple for sure was thinking about going into the fast castle to contest the second TC. it was a little, I mean, I like the idea, but you didn't scout your opponent. If you scouted the fact that they had a barracks, I mean, scouting that they didn't have dock doesn't mean a lot. It could just mean they're investing the wood into the second TC. But if you scout the barracks, you can tell for sure something's a little weird. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to stop your fast castle, but it could mean maybe make a barracks of your own. If you had spears up, you could sort of stem the damage, stop all the damage from happening. But, going for the forward castle, I wish it was on the TC, but I don't think it was able to range, though, actually the first one. Only the second one, I think you were able to come around the back. It was great pressure from purple to come in with the war wagons and do a lot of damage to your opponent and just sort of, use your tech advantage being in the castle age way earlier to do a lot of pressure. I think you could have been more aggressive, honestly. Your war wagons could have killed even more vills. And I'd say if you're red, if you're up against war wagons, don't make the skirms because you need... Well, we saw for one, didn't have elite skirm, didn't have any of the armor, I think. Just make monks instead. These are really expensive. They're pretty slow. You can see how well the monks did later, but it was a little too late for them to really make anything happen. And also as purple, wall this up, put an outpost, put something here. This is like the only escape route that OrangeMamba had, which he made great use of, and that was a great play to get the cavalry archer in and do a lot of damage. But ultimately, Lord Benji does pick up the win here. Ooh, wrong thing. Lord Benji does pick up in the win here, so we're going to go into game number 4. What is going on, everyone? Here we have game number 4 in this quarterfinal set. We have in the red with the Franks, OrangeMamba. In the purple with the Tatars is Lord Benji. So this is match point once again for OrangeMamba. Lost the previous game, but if he's able to secure one more win, he will be into the semifinals. We're here on Kawasan, another hybrid map where we have this big patch of berries. There's a nice elevation, and this is where all 5 relics are located. I'm pretty sure there are no more. Yeah, that's it. We have pretty decently sized pools on the left and right. And pretty open map. It's kind of hard to full wall this. And there's some nice walls you can make between the wood lines, I would say. But it would be pretty slow and costly and not really worth it to try and full wall the full thing. So on this kind of map, I think scouts are probably the go-to for your opening play. There's a lot of area to work with. Scouts can also be good to snipe any vagrant vills. Something you have to be careful about on any hybrid map, but especially a map like this, if you have your docking vill go out loomless, especially here if they're on the decline. If your opponent has their scout in position, they could just snipe it. So either you need to keep your own scout around, get loom, or wall in your docking villager. So say they build a dock right here, build some palisades, secure themselves in, and then while they are harvesting these box turtles here, they are safe from the enemy scout. In this matchup, we have Tatars versus Franks. Tatars are a great cav archer civ. Their cav archers have extra line of sight, which is not the best bonus of all, but having extra line of sight is good for raiding, I would say. Although you have to be a little more active with cav archers, which makes it less good, I would say, than like the Franks line of sight bonus, which gives their knights extra line of sight, which is good because knights in general are quite blind. They have a pretty low line of sight. I think all of that armor probably weighs down their eyelids, so they get pretty tired. They're not able to look as far as, for example, the Tatar CAR. But it's also good because, for one, if you're just sending out knights, you can see things, but especially for raiding as well. If you're not paying attention and they can see further than, and you're not sort of tasking them, they might be able to get some vill kills or, go for some units that they wouldn't otherwise be able to see. So Franks have the higher HP stable units, and they have very good knights with extra HP. They're missing bloodlines, so their scout line, or their light cav line, is actually kind of worse overall, long term, than a civ that does have bloodlines, because they actually have less HP, because it's percentage based. But for a scout rush, it's quite good, because they just have more HP before bloodlines than your opponent will if they don't have any HP bonus. Your foragers work faster, which is a great eco bonus, and you get all of the mill bonuses, all of the mill upgrades for free. Franks are pretty classic, I think, for a lot of starting players. I think, especially when I first started playing sort of competitively ranked, I played a lot of Franks at the beginning. Fun civ to play, can be a little one-dimensional. Tatars, they have an damage bonus, or like an extra damage on top of the normal elevation bonus. I think it might be plus 25% or something like that. I don't know how the numbers work out for that. To be honest, I'm not that smart. I just know they are even better than a usual civ if they are planted on elevation like this. So they could be quite good. You can see how this map is pretty flat, but they can be quite good for taking this center area and, you know, just sort of shelling a little better than usual. The berries are nice, of course, but they're not the most important thing. The relics are kind of more important, I would say. And also kind of an interesting spot for Lord Benji. You could put a castle here and it would range this stone, which is an interesting sort of generation, or fact of this generation, I would say. I would also say, you know, long term, CA are going to do probably better versus knights because they can just kite the knights around. They also have a lot of space to work with here. So we'll see how that plays out. Bears coming up for red. Probably going to see one for purple in the near future. Neither player is docked, by the way, which is interesting to see. Yeah, you don't have to, I would say, on this map, per se. But if your opponent has docked and you didn't, that would actually be an issue. Because the fish eco is going to be better. In the sense that they are able to produce 2 economic units at once. Vills and fishing ships. And, you know, fishing eco is very good. But interesting enough, neither player is docked. But if you see that your opponent... Ooh, that's unfortunate. That's me every single game. The starting scout being killed by the tower fire. Ooh, red's coming forward. What is this? Coming forward to secure the berries, maybe? But as I would say to finish my previous thought, if you see that your opponent isn't on any fish, I think it's a pretty good idea to go for your own fish. Forward stable into mill. I mean, you're... So... They do harvest berries faster, which is nice. You don't have to pay for wood. Or sorry, you don't have to pay for farms with wood. And this is kind of a nice secluded area, I would say. Archers would be a big issue for OrangeMamba if they come. They do harvest faster. I don't know what the rate is. I think it might be similar to a farmer, though. So it's not that good. But the main bonus, I would say, is that they don't... you don't have to pay with wood for the farms. Like you would for farms, I mean. But, and the blacks is coming out too. But, I mean, if OrangeMamba is able to secure the area, play with a lot of military, then you might be just fine and you're just able to take basically free food. We have 2 scouts now for red, 2 scouts now for purple, and a couple of spears. No spears out for red, which could be an issue if the scouts come home. Or hit red's home. Kind of nicely walled wood line, though. Purple can also reinforce a little more easily. But if we take some engagements from uphill, red's going to be better off, of course. Of course, you can see 54 HP, 45 HP. So before bloodlines come in, the Frank-ish scouts are going to be better. But this is 3-on-2. This is a winning fight for Lord Benji. But I think... So he's just kind of looking around. We'll see some of the vills, which would make me suspicious. Yeah, you don't really necessarily want to take this even. You get some spears in here, though. This is a consequence of this position. I mean, our barracks is back here, so it's not that far. But our opponent can reinforce with scouts and spears a little more easily. We're entering a mining camp now. A second stable. We'll see if OrangeMamba is able to produce it at both at the same time. Ooh, the armor coming in. Looks like OrangeMamba wants to commit to some feudal damage here. See if he's able to find anything, though. We have 5 scouts, and the spears are one over here, one over here. Well placed. But these gold vills should be over here. They are facing towards the enemy. Get the spear in there, get some damage in. Taking this fight before the armor is not great, but they had better numbers, and they were able to get some damage in first, so they're going to do well. These gold vills are going to need to get away. We have 5 scouts in. They're into the wood line. And unfortunately for OrangeMamba, or sorry, for Lord Benji, the spear died earlier. It's going to be a bad engagement for purple here. Luckily, we do have the second wood line back here, so that is just fine. It's not as bad as it would have been. A lot of the scouts are going to go down. We're going to wall this back up. And get a kill. And this Vil is in danger. And the scouts are going to come in. We're going to need some more spears for purple. A range coming in. 3 stables. I say this is a little... it's a little excessive. You're not even producing out of your first 2. But they're finding a lot of damage here. But we're also losing a lot of scouts. So purple just needs to stabilize, make some spears. This is walled back up. You can mine this gold, but take it over here on this side. This scout's going to go down. Oh, not quite. Nice to pull it back. Oh, yeah, it's going to go down. Skirms are coming out. Those will kill the spears. And also they anticipate any archers from the Tatar player. So we did lose a lot of Vils for Lord Benji. And we took some more idle time, I would say, than red. Starting to farm now for red. Already have the free mill bonus, which is a great bonus for that. 2 scouts now, and 2 skirms to 2 spears. There's a bit kind of an awkward spot for Lord Benji, but yeah, I don't mind just making more scouts. However, your opponent does have the armor, which you can click on them to scout that. So they are going to perform better. And OrangeMamba is committing quite a bit to the feudal army here. Has more army. However, if you're purple, you could still add a range. The house is down. The scouts are in. You can still add a range. Your opponent doesn't have fletching. So you can actually still kill these. But I think purple's going to get quite overwhelmed here with all this army. We have 5 scouts in now. It's pretty awkward for Lord Benji with how forward this gold is. Because, and how forward red's military production is. Spears are in, but there's a lot of scouts. The skirms go down, but there's 7 Frankish scouts now for purple. I think you probably just need to get away from this gold at this point. You're losing way too much. You either need to tower it, maybe just try and go for a sneaky gold, maybe go for the stone and sell that. Either way, you're not spending your gold on anything right now anyway. So if you just want it for Castle Age, you have that. You're flowing a lot of wood. Okay, Dropping Mark is good. You need either some more farms, maybe mill to range at this point. If you're going CA, you're going to need a range anyway. I think going on this gold repeatedly is a mistake, because you're not even spending it on anything. You still need more spears, but yeah, OrangeMamba keeps overwhelming with all these scouts. I mean, they keep losing them, but they're finding a lot of damage. You're killing a lot of Vils. Some really low HP scouts for red. One goes down, the second one's going to go down. Spear comes in, gets some damage in. And just keep producing. I mean, you got 30 Vils on food. That's ridiculous. You have all of these foragers and all of these farmers. And we're now on to gold. So red is thinking about Castle Age. Purple's also thinking about Castle Age. Selling the stone. Has a decent food count. Not as many Vils on food as red. But shouldn't take too much longer to get enough res to click up. But red is in a pretty good spot. I think the 3rd stable is kind of overkill. And these Vils are starting to be quite inefficient without an extra mill. But did a lot of damage. And still has 4 scouts that can find more picks, potentially. Ooh, you need to... Okay, yeah. Good response from purple. Not making any more army from purple, which I'm sure is because they want to click up. But these scouts can still do quite a bit of damage, especially with these gold. I mean, so many of these gold Vils have been picked off. It's really unfortunate for Lord Benji. Some long-range foraging. I also think that either player could have docked at some point. That would have gotten them up to castle pretty quickly. Both players up to castle now. Red slightly ahead, but not by much. And now we're walling around the sides, which is good to see. We'll see how things go when they get up to castle. We don't have any ranges for purple, so we can't even make CA right now. Scouts continue to prod and poke and find damage. We do find another Vil kill here. Horta TC is terribly accurate. Oh, another pick here? Oh, not quite. But yeah, I'm not sure what Lord Benji has in mind here. You could just make some knights. Of course, you don't really want to go knights against Frank's knights because your knights are just worse. I think they do get camels, so camels not a bad idea either. Of course, you can also make a monastery against knights, which is a great idea. Ooh, do you see a garrison here? When you see a garrison, oh, another pick. OrangeMamba has done a great job of being really annoying with these units. Okay, we got range. About to be 2 ranges up for purple. We do need to secure this gold if we're going to do that. Make sure you wall this hole. Double bit X finally coming in for red. Pretty late, but I guess with the foraging vills, it's not that bad. Or sorry, purple was up to castle first. I must have read looked at that differently. You need to wall this though. This is the real big problem. And of course we're going to knights as red as expected. So CA should do decently. However, we don't have fletching. We're gonna need bodkin, and it's gonna take us a while to mass them up as well. We only have 2 on gold. Also, we're open back here now, so we need to wall this as well. Also, we have a huge Vil lead for red. Just because idle time was forced, and a lot of Vils died in the process. So we're going to need more on gold. We're going to need to sell some stuff. And these Vils now, with a nice forward position, are able to change their ways from foraging into farming. Monastery being built by red. Grab all these relics up. It's not like Lord Benji is in a position to contest you there. And you can also convert any camels your opponent makes or a few cav archer while they are a small mass. So yeah, so red needs to move in before you get a big mass from purple. And unfortunately, yeah, so we're still open here in the back. So we're gonna find a lot of damage, I think. Foraging is also about to be in. And this is really bad for purple because you need this gold to produce more units. Now the cav archer are out, but we don't have fletching yet. And we have the first armor for red. And we have more knights than cav archer, which does not bode well for the cav archer player. I think we also need a monastery, honestly, for purple. These knights are going to bust through pretty soon. Single gold miner saw his friends slaughtered in front of him. Or maybe they weren't his friends, but at least co-workers. The knights are in. I think they're going to find a lot of damage. And the GG is called here. So, congratulations to OrangeMamba. Oh, we did the wrong thing again. Congratulations to OrangeMamba proceeding into the semifinals. Pretty interesting strategy here, taking the 4 position. It sort of leaves you quite open, I would say. But I think OrangeMamba did a good job of using the position to sort of, you know, produce a lot of military that could reinforce really quickly to make sure you had control of the map and get the nice free berries and then drop, you know, farms afterwards. I think could have still docked. I think if you're Lord Benji, you definitely want to try and sneak out a dock at some point, especially when you're under all of this pressure and you know your opponent has not docked. I think another big thing that happened was that this, let's take a look here. I don't remember exactly where it was. Yeah. So this gap showed up because purple was trying to bring the scouts back, which totally fine. But then it was left open and red was able to take advantage of that and was able to walk in repeatedly, like over and over. This was not plugged for quite a while. We plugged there, but then, you know, they did a lot of damage before that was even, you know, you can see we still have a pretty big eco lead. But Lord Benji could have evened things out, I think, even still with a dock. When your opponent isn't docked, you can make fish, they can't. We have this back wood line is safe. I also think this, like, a lot of vills got picked up on the gold, and they weren't even, like, helping. Like, the gold wasn't being spent on anything, and they were just being killed. But it was also a pretty good spot for red. I almost wonder if maybe you should have just towered here at some point. You're getting so much aggression from your opponent. And, like, if you think about... OrangeMamba here has 3 stables and a range. Like, I mean, for one, maybe you could find some damage. Maybe not. You could probably find some damage at this point. It's kind of awkward. And this is pretty well fortified. But, you know, they even OrangeMamba went for the armor, producing a lot of army. If you're able to stabilize, you know, purple, you could be okay. I think taking the fish would also make a pretty big difference, I gotta say. But, you know, OrangeMamba was a classic Frank move here. Be very annoying with the scouts, get a lot of damage in, and then transition into your great knights. And the knights are able to come out before Lord Benji was able to really get a big CA mass, especially because of this gold being repeatedly contested and not able to produce them. I almost wonder if, yeah, maybe you should have just gone for one of the other golds at some point. But GG to both players, and congratulations to OrangeMamba for proceeding into the semifinals. And that is all for me, folks.